Hey guys, TrueNight here. So welcome back to the channel. So the reason that this is different from normal, where I usually do a deck profile through Omega, is because I was planning on going to locals tonight, but as is with being a father or a husband, if anybody else's day's stuff gets changed in any way, your plans go to shit. So you just shut up and be dead, you know. So been missing a lot of locals, very frustrating. Really want to get out there and actually try to play and test, but again, when you're dead, you're dead. So but one day, guys, you will get to see me play a game, promise. Anyway, let's get into what I thought I would be playing tonight. A deck that I certainly feel like is nowhere near dead or destroyed, and is actually a pretty raunchy pile of cards. Been thinking a lot about it, been building a lot into it, and I build it in such a manner that's going to make my opponent have to have multiple interruptions to even stand a chance. And I kind of wanted to prove my point in a video I made earlier about how the game is progressing into more of a, you have your main archetype and then your supplemental engines that help support it. And so I built it with that in mind, in that in fashion, and I practiced a lot of it throughout the week. Been having fun with it. I know I sound salty because I am. Was really excited to try it out tonight, but maybe one day. So anyway, let's get right into the deck. So starting out, it is a 40 card list. I don't know how I kept it to 40 and kept everything I kept in it, but here we are. Starting out, playing two of the most important card in the deck. Onyx. It's crazy. You are able to search it in this deck. You're able to pop it without even summoning it to make your engine go off. You're able to extend with it. You're able to do so much with it. It's just such a broken structure deck card. Kind of crazy. Really was thinking about running 3, but ultimately fell into 2. Follow it up to Onyx. I want to remind you guys that I'm not playing your standard deck with this. I feel like Fire King is kind of evolving into Infernoble Knight in a sense, and what I mean by that is how we went from like ratios of 3 to ratios of 1. We're kind of in the middle on that with ratios of 2, but that's where this deck stands right now. 1 Arvada, that's all you need. You don't need any more than that. I know a lot of people will disagree, but I'm playing 2 Kieran. I heard some people say it's a bad card. No, the hell it's not. I know its effect is more reliant on the graveyard effect, but this card wins games. Like, I don't understand. So, and the reason I'm not playing a 3rd is because I opted to do a 2/2 lineup. 2 Garunix, 2 Kieran. Why? Because a lot of people will hone in on this card and try and banish it. So, what better way to throw off your opponent than to drop another one the next turn? Which I've done multiple times. I've had people like message me like, yo, wasn't expecting that. Pretty cool. So, that's the reason I played it. And of course, one old school, I hate this card. I really hate its effect of nuking your board, but it's just too good with the functioning of the deck. And then more weird ratios. I am on 2 Island. Reason being is because it's the same topic as the Garunic explanation. People are going to hone in on this card, and they're going to try and find a way, because they know if you out this card, you're pretty seriously outing Fire King. So this card is very much, you want to have a backup plan. So Sorry, lost my train of thought. And then just 1 Jinx Rare. I don't play any of the other Fire King spells. I was thinking about it, but the non-engine space is too valuable right now for things you want to stop and when you want to stop them. And you'll see that later on. But, yeah. Alright, so we have our engine here, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13 card engine. Okay? This is my main archetype. Yeah, I would call this a Fire King deck. But let's start getting into the craziness, shall we? Our first supplemental engine is the Dogmatic package. Why? I'm not really reliant on my extra deck in the sense of summoning from it my first turn. That's more later on with the recursion I build and the situations I get myself into and fall into and the sticky situations you fall into. That's when you start relying on your extra deck. But right now, you're kind of just relying on your main deck, which is what makes this deck harder to play against, because it's kind of like Voiceless Voice in the sense where your opponent is going to, well, if they're a meta whore, they're going to be playing the Charmies and everything like that. And this deck, to be quite honest, because a lot of people are maining Fualos and siding Perelia, which gives you an advantage game 1. And then they'll side into Perelia, side out Fualos, and when you're going second, you can really hone in on like, okay, I'll give you 1 draw, but I'm going to beat you with my board breakers. So this really helps facilitate that, because this is in itself a board breaker, and you'll see that with the extra deck. The amount of interruption it can create and the amount of just sheer panic you can induce on your opponent, because not only are in game 1s you're forcing them to send their crap to the grave as well. So if they're not prepared and they're not playing cards that are good in the grave, huge advantage to you. Second of all, you're gaining information. Knowledge is power. So if you're going up against a Centurion player, it's been outed most of the time in some fashion. A lot of Rizal players will put that aggregator, which I don't understand. I know some of them play 2, but some of them, they just play 1. They'll put the aggregator in there, and then it's easy to just kind of banish that card and screw them over. So that's the first engine. My second support engine, 2 Unicorn, 1 Fenrir, 1 Raid South, and 1 Birth. Why? Again, I'm not really heavily reliant on my extra deck, and I want to be able to set up a good board with massive interruption. And going second, I need to force people to stop this kind of stuff so that this stuff will resolve. So these are great ways to make your opponent stop this, or make them stop this, or stop this to be able to get to this. So that's my logic with this deck. That's what the point I'm trying to prove is. So just a small cashier engine, but you don't really need much bigger than that in this deck, as you are playing a lot of recursion, a lot of draw, things of that nature. And then my third and final support engine is I'm playing the Vicious. I did have Lubellion in there, but I didn't want to go to 41, so I just decided to run these 3. Why? Fiendsmith is massive. Fiendsmith is a monster, and you already play away in the deck to start fighting with Fiendsmith, but this really helps fighting it a lot more. A lot of times I'll go after Engraver, I'll go after Lori, I'll go after Lacrima. Like, you have to go after those targets and know where to stop them. Like, you have to know to hit that Link 1 with Ash when you have it. Things of that nature. And there's also a lot of light and darks with like locals level that you can just hit with Labyrinth. You can hit Dynamorphia cards, you can hit Ubel, you can hit a lot of just stuff with this, and it just helps you keep going. It gives you extra bodies to keep going, and gives you extra disruption. So. Alright, now for non-engine. Starting out, It's the age-old saying, this stuff is a killer of Branded, it's a killer of Labyrinth, it's a killer of most of the meta, so gonna run it. Now, what I was talking about earlier is that we have a way to combat Fiendsmith right out the gate. You have no idea how much this card comes up. And I never thought I'd see myself like main decking this card, in all honesty, but add a card from the grave to the hand, or deck or extra deck. Special summon a monster from the graveyard. Banish a card from the graveyard. Like, these effects are all over in the game right now, especially in a local level, where I'm not really honing in on a YCS level where I'm going to see 2 decks. I'm preparing to see anywhere between like 4, maybe even 5 decks if it's a 5-round game, where I'm seeing a different deck every round. So these really help you in all aspects of the game. And then Renib. This card is just insane right now, and I know people are saying no, you want to do Droll because of the Charmies. A good player is going to play around the Charmies and know, okay, I can give you a draw. But man, this card, and just the sheer fact of how much I can like stop, especially, I want you guys to understand this is from a locals level. Okay, I'm not coming at you like, hey, I'm taking this to YCS Orlando. No, I play locals. So at a local level, this card does work all the time. Last 6 cards. My favorite card in the game. I'm so happy it's back. I'm gonna enjoy having you around until the next ban list, probably at Orlando. Where either you get banned or you get limited. But this card is right now the combatant against hand traps because of the Glue Eater deck with Ryzel, and you can play 21 hand traps. It's just Snake Eye 2.0, but you can combat those. At least you can get knowledge. And guys, okay. So what happens to me a lot is my opponent will hit me with this card. Okay, and I'm like, oh crap, they're gonna take Goronix. They're gonna come into my hand and they're gonna take my Onyx, you know, something like that. No, people left and right out there are drawing 2 cards when they have 2 or 3 cards in their hand. Like, okay, so for people who are saying that this card is weak, I feel like it's because you're uninformed and you're playing this card wrong. Like 9 times out of 10, you want to be taking from your opponent with this card. You want to take a creature if you're going second, and you want to kill them with that creature. Or go into Starslayer, or go into Zeus, or go into something else to SP Little Knight. Like, you want to take away their resource. Or, if you're going first, you want to get into their hand. You want to go and have a chance to get that maybe just 1 starter they have. Okay? Cut the bullshit. Don't sit there if you have 2 or 3 cards in hand and you're playing and stuff like that. Why draw 2? Unless you have no starters and you bricked horribly and your 1 starter got stopped, or you have no cards in hand, or if your opponent is on top deck mode, there's no reason to draw 2. Do you know how many times that people have done this thinking, oh, I got him, draw 2 and I ash? Like, think guys, think. Please, for the love of baby Jesus. And then finally, last card, of course, 3 Imperm. Not much to say. It's Imperm. You play if you got it. So, as you guys can see, I'm not playing the main, like, Charmies, I'm not playing Impulse, I'm not playing things of that nature. I choose not to because I'm at a locals level. I have all those cards as all just to try and prove a point. Oh, wait. Sorry, it was mail day, so I got a whole bunch of cards in the mail. I think it's in here, but I have, or well, see, I have the Lubellion. I just decided not to. Sorry, I don't know why I feel the need every time to prove my point, but I always do. But anyway, I have these cards. Like, I'm able to go into those cards, okay? And impulses in my binder. But the reason I don't do that, okay? One, I loan these cards out left and right. You guys would not believe how many people hit me up a week and say, "Hey man, True, can I borrow your cards or whatever for a regional? Or can I borrow it for YCS so-and-so? Or hey, we're having a big case tourney at the locals. It's on a Saturday, you're working, can I borrow it?" So I just loan them out. Second of all, as I stated in my previous videos, I'm never the guy that's going to be playing like full power Rizal Fiendsmith. I could, but I'd rather play all those decks that fall in between like tier 3 to like maybe tier 1 contender. That's where my realm is, and that means you play cards like these. You don't play the Charmies just because. Everybody's expecting them. Everybody's expecting them. Like, think outside the box. That's what locals is for. Like, for all you know, this is the goo. So the great pack says. Like, just saying. Okay. Into the side deck. Side deck, I always usually say it's not much, but I did think it through a lot this time. Because again, salty as dad moment, I thought I was going to locals and I'm not. So, 3 Lancia. Just too important against the Malice matchup, and unfortunately you have to side deck specifically for Malice and Rizal because a lot of people don't want to get creative, they just want to play the best decks. So, and I hate Cyber decks. I picked up all the, and I knew this was going to happen, I picked up all the Malice stuff like a month and a half ago thinking, oh, that's the deck I want to play out of the set. I hate Cybers. Why did I do that? And then I hate Rizal. I hate Glue Eater, like so simplistic, so easy to play kind of decks. And sure, I'll maybe engine it, like I'll use it as, like as you saw in my Voiceless deck, I had like a 4-card Rizal engine. Sure, you know, I have a couple of decks in mind that I could throw that into and just go. But like, I don't know, just playing full power Rizal. I did one match of full power Rizal and I was just like, I already know the deck now. In one match. I know what the deck does now, and how to do it, and how to compete. Like, that's not fun. I need shit that'll make me take time to figure out, you know? So, okay. Anyway, sorry. This is my rare shit on Konami moment for like the past 3 months, but really? Why didn't you just bring back Zoo? We could have had such a cooler archetype in crossovers. Why didn't you just bring back Zoo? Yeah, okay. 3 Book of Eclipse. Yes, this card gets ashed a lot, and I agree with that point, but when it doesn't, and it goes off, you win games. So, still to this day, I am playing the Board Breakers. Why? Because they're still very real at a locals level. Want to reiterate that for the 3rd time. This is a locals level deck. Now, in a YCS setting, you're probably going to see Purulea right here, and something of that nature, but I'm playing it local. Speaking of which, I had a meta call because I just know that a lot of people show up with trap decks and things of that nature, so I decided to put in the Cosmics because I know a lot of people choose to still try Tikaboo, they still want to play Rivalry, Anti-Spell, things of that nature, and I wanted a response to that. So. And last but not least, the, of course, obligatory going first card. Now, what a lot of people, also, to kind of piggyback off of what I was saying here, these could easily be Parilias, and these could easily be crossouts if I were preparing for a bigger event. But you need to stop things such as, of course, Ryzel. You can stop White Forest. You can stop all those kind of decks. So, yeah. So that's it for the main and side. Now let's get into the extra and let's talk about that for a little bit. So, Tales all this time. I'm still playing the one Relinquished. It has come up a couple of times, and then opponents just, I don't know if they just decided to stop respecting it or what, but I do take monsters a lot and swing with it. So, Hida, I'm playing a fire deck. Of course, I'm going to play Hida. Little Knight. I'm not playing Masquerena because I'm not playing Flamebridge. So, another day. Don't worry. I have plans for Snake Eyes. I know I told you guys beginning of the format. I have plans for Snake Eyes. I just wanted to prove a point tonight with Pure Fire King. Or not Pure Fire King, but more of a Fire King-esque build. So. And then I am playing 2 Promethean. Why do you ask? Because my little buddy, come on over here and listen to Dad. You know how crazy it is sometimes? Let's say that you have the Ponix in hand and you're going into this guy, and you're eventually going to go into, spoiler warning, you're eventually going to pop this guy with him. You're going to send him to the graveyard. If you have Ponix in hand and you're doing your play, okay, let me give you an example here. So I go here, okay, and I activate effect. I could, my typical activation of this effect is sending these 2. Okay, I'm going to get a draw and recycle, and I'm going to get a search of Ponix. If I already have Ponix in hand, I'm sending one of these. Simple as it. Why? Extra layered interruption. Okay, this interruption on my opponent's turn, especially when you start putting cards on top of it and everything like that, and a good player or a bad player who's not checking the graveyard constantly, you just interrupt them mid their turn. They've lost track of it. You have a Garunix or Ponix on the field, they summon a monster. Hey, hold on, before you do anything, I'm going to go ahead and pop that. You'd be surprised how many people mid-game I just do that to, and then all of a sudden your opponent has submitted or quit, surrendered. Like, look at the graveyard. That simple. So, yeah. Next up, I am running the Amblo Whale, because it's Amblo, it's what you finish on sometimes, and of course the OTK package with the big 2 dogs. Of course, I am running this. This is my favorite card in the extra deck. Well, there's a tie. These 2 are my favorite cards in the extra deck, but great card. Easy Raigeki, and some people will forget and sleep on the popping a spell and trap, and some people actually, I don't know, the deck has been out around forever, but people forget the recursion in the graveyard, where it can just come right back with another Bodhi on top of it. Like, just read the cards, people, read the cards. My tech choice, I did drop this against my opponent and watched them. I got him down to, it was against a Rescue Ace player, and it was on Omega. Wish I had recorded it, but got him down to 100. Was sitting there at the end phase, or main phase 2, and I was sitting with Fenrir in defense, and I had cast your Unicorn in attack because I had played Birth. And I was just like, do I do it? And I dropped it, and my opponent instantly just scooped. Instantly. I was just like, because they made a big brain play on my Garunix, and they impermed my Garunix in battle phase. So Garunix went from 3,900 down to 27. And it left them at 100 life points, and they were thinking they were a big deck, and like, oh my god, I just outsmarted this guy, I'm gonna totally on the crackback kill him, and I dropped this, and my opponent scooped. I don't know if it's the next best tech card, but for me it worked in that game. at least. Star Slayer, because it's Star Slayer, it's my, I don't know, it's an easy to go to when I get shit on. And then my Nadir Servant targets, again, recursion, get the crappy cards you don't want out of your hand and get good ones in your hand, and then search your Ponyx if you need Ponyx in your combo. And then my last but not least, of course, draw power, pop. Wish I could play two. My second one was the Full Metal Dragon, but I decided to put Full Metal in. So, for the sake of brevity, I will go ahead and show you guys full combo, just for fun, because I really wanted a chance, guys, to go for it, but obviously I couldn't. So, full combo, I would say, is excuse me. Let's say you have 1, 2, 3, let's go 4, and for the sake of craziness, this to me is like full-on optimal board status right here. If I draw this hand, I am just, as long as I don't get Eradicator Virus, I'm so excited. So how would I chain this? I would start out here, I would activate, I would go and get this guy, special effect, go and get this. You don't have to have Fenrir. Fenrir is there. That's why there's only one of. There's that. Alright, now from here I'm going to make this, and by the way, I'm hoping my opponent is interacting with me here. I'm wanting them to interact with me. Second engine, I'm going to go ahead and get Nadir. I'm going to put Garua in there. We're going to go and get this guy. And we'll say our draw, of course, is in perm. So, alright, now from here, I'm going to go ahead and special. We'll banish the Garua, and we will activate effect. So, as you can see here, I don't have Ponyx, but if I had Ponyx, I'm dropping Promethean Princess in the grave. But because I don't, I'm dropping in these two. So I'll go Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2. So with Chainlink 2, I'm searching out Ponyx, shuffle, 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 Chainlink 1, I'm going to get this, and I'm going to put this back. Okay. So now we're sitting here, right? Alright, so we haven't normal summoned yet, so we're going pretty good there. We have a pretty good defensive board. If our opponent tries to activate anything right now, they know they're about to give me knowledge. Anything of that nature. So, what I would go ahead and do here is I'm going to save my normal summon in case anything gets erupted, because now I'm going to start going for the Fire King stuff. Okay? So, I would want to save my normal summon, actually, but to think about it, I'm going to try and bait out interaction, because if we're going to go off the basis that my opponent has not interacted with me here. So, I'm going to try and say, alright, I'll normal summon. Attempt effect. Let's say it gets Veilered. Cool. Totally fine. Right here is where I would drop it, guys. Because I have cards in hand. I got follow-up. Okay? It's a good assessment of the field. I'm going to go ahead and rip a card out of their hand. Make them start out with 4 cards. For all we know, I just took care of Nibiru. Or maybe I took care of a Engraver. Or something of that nature. Let's say I ripped out their 1 starter. Right here is where a lot of opponents would scoop. No joke. But let's say we keep going. We'll go ahead and activate Island. Pop. We'll go and get this guy. Go ahead and put this guy in the grave. We will activate Kieran, and we'll special Arvada. And then we'll set our imperm. So we have a creature negation on our opponent's turn, right here with a pop. We have the Kashira combo right here. We have this right here, And then if we're popping this, and then later on in the turn, this gets destroyed, we just go nuts. We literally will just say, alright, cool, I'm going to go ahead and activate here. Special summon, he'll go off. I'll go ahead and do this. Another Kieran, and I'll bring it right back. Kieran effect to special. We also have this to stop anything from our opponent in that fashion. And then on the crackback, we can, I don't know, maybe we drew into a Bestial or something of that nature, but draw here. We'll say we had to activate our this, so this is our card in hand. This is where we can start getting nutty. We can do another 2 pops. We could come right here and say, I'll go ahead and pop Promethean, and I'll pop Intis. Pop a card in my opponent's field, and then I have Promethean engraved. Something of that nature. Oh, by the way, the fire card just got destroyed. Like, you can just do a whole bunch of that. Somebody tries to interrupt me at all, Unicorn. I could just damn near, if I wanted to, honestly, I could just start link summoning, start link climbing, things of that nature. So, for me, at a locals level, I feel like a player who is not prepared is going to run into this and just say, holy shit. Like, that's just a lot to interact with and a lot to have to fight against. So, I want to challenge somebody, because this dad can't make it. Please, somebody try this build for me at locals and let me know how it goes, because I really think this is a locals, like, tier 1 level deck. Locals. I feel like this could go into locals and compete even against Ryzel on a given night. Easily, I've handled Malice like crazy with this deck. So, the only deck that I've struggled against with this is Labyrinth, which is the reason why I decided to keep Lightning Storm, and also one of the reasons why I put in Cosmics. So, that's just me. But that'll be it, guys. That'll be it for me tonight. Again, I was really hopeful for this deck, and I think it can actually be really good. Kind of sucks that I couldn't go. I was super excited. I haven't been to locals in like 3 weeks, so I was really excited to go and get to play and see some buddies and things like that. Now with Christmas next week, I doubt anybody's going to go there on a Monday, and the following week will be New Year's, so I doubt anybody's going to go then. So maybe in like another 2 or 3 weeks, we'll see. I'll call the shop owner and keep up with them and see people show up. But yeah, that'll be it for me tonight. You guys be kind, be respectful, and I shall see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Yes, let's go. Come on. Level head, heavy metal, lead foot up on the pedal.